user, he will be copying, right? The attacker, he will be copying this hash from inside our database, right? He will be going inside these rainbow table, these pre-computed table, and he will be putting over there. Now this table, what it is going to do is it is going to map out this 1234 inside its database, right? And from there it will be finding this 1234 over here. Then it will be giving us the. Okay, so over here we are having different algorithm for our hashing, right? I'm going to use the default one, which is your MD2, right? So from here I will be creating some password. Let's say this is my password, I'm having password, right? Then I'm going to create the hash of it, right? This is the hash we are having. Copy it, and I will be going inside these computer tables we are having. I will be putting over here. I'm not a robo. Cars verify crack hashes. Right, so over here you can see it has just cracked the password, right? And we are having our password in the plain text, right? So the rainbow tables, they will be looking like this, right? Inside them they will be having the plain text and they will be having the checksum, right? And whenever we will be putting our hash inside these places, right, they are going to give us the password, our hash, and the plain text, right? So that is how the attackers, they are going to map out the hash, right? If we will be getting the green color, it will be saying that we are having the exact match of our password. If we are getting the yellow color, it means that we are having the partial match, right? If we are having the red color, it means that our this place, it is not able to find the plain text for our password. Over here, we are having the attack with the name pass the hash. Okay, so in the pass the hash attack, the attacker, he is going to steal, right? He is going to steal our credential, right? He will be stealing our hash of our password, right? And then what he will be doing is he will be taking that particular hash, like let's say it is your 1234, this is the hash of our password. And then instead of writing the password, right, instead of writing the password over here, what he will be doing is he will be giving the hash over there for the authentication over there, right? Instead of using the actual password, he will be using our password hash, right? So this is what we are having your pass the hash attack, right? So in this, the attacker first, he will be trying to gain the access of our system, of our network, right? With the various method like phishing, the malware, exploiting the vulnerabilities over there, right? After that, he is going to extract the hash we are having, right? He is going to extract the hash. For that we are having lots of tool which is going to perform the credential dumping, right? Or they will be compromising our accounts to extract the password hashes which are stored in our memory or on our disk. SAM file, right? So this is the location where our password hash, they will be getting stored, right? Let me show you how they will be getting stored over there. All right. So over here on the screen, you can see, right, this is the content we are having inside the SAM file, right? This will be our administrator and the credential for the administrator we are having as your 500, right? Other than 500, there will be, you can say just the user or some different accounts. But if you are having a 500, that means that that will be our administrator account. So this is the LM hash we are having, right? So previously our password, they were getting stored inside it. Then we are having our NTLM hash, right? So after that, our password, they are getting stored inside this location, right? So that is how our password, they will be getting stored inside our Windows system over there, right? So from here, the attacker, he can grab these hashes, right? And then he will be trying to crack them. So once he will be able to grab these hashes, right? Once he is able to grab these hashes, and let's say he was trying to crack them, he was trying to map these hashes over here, but he was not able to map out, right? So what he will be doing is he will be performing the attack with the name pass the hash, right? And then instead of giving the real password, he will be using the hash of that particular password, right? So that is what we are having here, pass the hash. Right? So once the attacker he has stolen our password hash, right? Then he will be trying to authenticate to some systems, right? Without knowing the actual password, which will be allowing him to move laterally within our network, right? He can also escalate his privileges. He will be expanding his control over there, right? So that is what we are having here, pass the hash. Now, for mitigating these attacks like your pass the hash or the password cracking over here, what we have to do is we have to implement the strong password policies, right? We have to use the multi-factor authentication. It means that even if the attacker he is able to get the content from inside of our SAM file, right? He won't be able to crack it, right? Because we are having a unique password, we are having a very strong password, right? So maybe our pre-computer table they won't be able to crack it, right? And even he is able to crack it, right? Then we are having a multi-factor authentication which will be asking for one more option to authenticate himself, right? So that is what we are having some guidelines for your password cracking and their defenses, right? Now let me show you how the attacker they are cracking the password. Right, for that I will be powering on this machine. So this is the machine we are having with the name Metasploitable 2, right? After that, over here we will be trying to crack the IP address of this Metasploitable machine. For that, we will be first looking our IP address. Now we are going to perform the ARP scan, right? Now this ARP, what it will be doing is it is going to give me the IP of all the connected machines we are having inside our network, right? Your address resolution protocol, right? What it will be doing is it will be asking each and every systems, your machines which are connected to my network, it will be asking for the IP address, and depending upon the information, it is going to map out the IP address with their respected MAC address over there, right? So this is the IP we are getting for this Metasploitable machine. Now, what I will be doing is I will be performing the banner grabbing for it and map your network mapper -s for your service version. I also want to run some scripts over there, right? Then what I will be doing is I'm going to scan for your 100 well-known ports, right? Then I will be putting the IP address of this machine. Right now, let's say I also want to look for the operating system of this Metasploitable machine, right? Then I also want to see what is happening in the background. So for that, we are having a verbosity, right? So in the nmap, we are having the three levels of verbosity, right? We are having the three levels of verbosity, which will be giving us the information like what our tool it is doing in the background, right? So over here, our nmap, it will be working in the steps of process, right? And the very first, it will be performing your up, right? Then we are having the DNS resolution. Then we are having the reverse DNS resolution, right? After this, it will be performing the port scanning, which we are performing over here, right? And then it will be performing the script, your NSE, your Nmap script engine, which will be giving us more detailed information over here, right? So let's start it. See over here, you can see it is saying that initiating ARP ping scan, DNS resolution. Then we are having our port scan over here, right? It has just discovered some ports. Great. Now it is giving us the detailed information over there, right? It is giving us the information about the different port numbers, right? We are having your 6000, your 8009, 5900 for your VNC. We are having our MySQL, NFS, right? And along with that, we are having your RPC bind, DNS. We are having our SMTP, the telnet, and we are having our SSH and your FTP. Right, from here you can also see the reason why we are able to get the information. You can also see the TTL value, right? So depending upon the TTL value, can you guys tell me like what is the operating system of this victim for which we are performing this banner grabbing? Okay, so over here you can see the TTL value. It is saying that 64, right? So if we are getting the value like your 64, it means that that is the Linux based operating system we are having, right? So this is the Linux machine we are having with the name Metasploitable, right? So since we are able to find, right? Since we are able to find this port detail 21, right? We are finding this FTP, it is saying you're open, right? So let's move ahead, right? For the Windows, we will be having the TTL value of 128. Okay. So previously we were scanning for the 100 well-known ports over here, right? Over here you can see we were getting the information about the 100 well-known ports. But now what I will be doing is I will be just scanning for this TCP, this FTP over here, the port number 21, right? Along with that, I'm not going to use the default scripts which we have used previously, which we were giving us the all these information, right? We were having this option here hyphen SC, right? We were having this option C written over here, right? Which will be running the default script for us. Instead of that, we will be writing a script one, right? Which will be giving us the information about the vulnerabilities which are associated with this port number we are having. So let's see. Okay. So over here for this port number 21, your FTP, it is giving us lots of information about the vulnerabilities, right? It is saying that we are having the backdoor inside this particular version, your very secure FTP daemon 2.3.4, right? And if we are going to exploit it, then the result will be like this: UID 0 root, group ID 0 root, right? So in the Windows, for the administrator, we were having the ID your 500, but in the Linux for the root we are having your 0. Other than 0 it will be like your users, normal users. But if you are having your 0, it means that we are the root, right? So over here along with that, it is also giving us the information that the anonymous FTP login is allowed, right? It is saying that the anonymous FTP login is allowed. So since it is saying that the login is allowed over there, so let's do one thing. Let's try to brute force it, right? We will be exploiting our port number 21 with the help of your brute force, right? So now over here, I'm going to create some files with the help of this nano user.txt, right? Inside this, I will be giving some valid username and the password. Like I will be writing as your admin, I will be writing as your user, root, administrator, password, and since it was saying anonymous, I will be also writing anonymous over here, right? Then I will be writing like MSF admin, the service, right? So let's keep it all these information till here. I will be also copying it, copy selection, control X, Y, and hit enter. Now I will be having a file with the name user.txt, this one. Then I will be also creating a password file, pass.txt, and I will be pasting all those credentials here. Control X, Y, and hit enter. ls Now we are having two files with the name user.txt and the another one we are having with the name pass.txt over here, right? Then we are having our tool with the name Hydra, a password cracking tool, -h for the help, right? So it is saying that Hydra by this, please do not use in military or secret service organization or for legal purposes. This is non-binding. These ignore laws and ethics anyway, right? So this is the syntax we are getting over here for writing our command, right? And these are the options we are getting inside it, right? Like we are having your -l, which is for the login file, right? Which will be having the login name. We are having your -p, which is for the password. So let's try to crack it. And this is the example we are having for writing our command, right? So over here, I will be writing Hydra hyphen capital L, right, for our user file, which is your user.txt. Then I will be writing hyphen capital P, which is for the password.txt. And then we will be providing the IP address of this victim, right, your metasploitable machine over here, which is your 132, right? And then we will be writing the name of the service, which we are trying to exploit over there. Hit enter, and it is going to crack some passwords for us, right? So whatever information we have written inside those files, it is saying that we are having 11 valid passwords over there, right? It is able to find 11 valid passwords over there, right? So let's try to get the access of the FTP by using these credentials which we have discovered. I will be writing your FTP and then I will be writing the IP address of this machine, right? Then it will be asking for the username and the password. So let's try this user, whether it is working or not. And as you can see, it is saying that login successful. So that is how the attackers, they are able to crack the passwords. If we will be using the easy or the small passwords, the easily guessable passwords over there, right? Along with that, I will be writing exit over here. Along with that over here, you can see we are having the different ports that are open inside it, right? Like we are having the telnet, we are having this SSH, right? And as we all know that these telnet, your FTP, right, what they are going to do is they are not going to encrypt our information. They are not going to encrypt our credential over there, right? So what I will be doing is I will be opening my Wireshark, and over here I will be writing simply telnet and I will be giving the IP address of this machine, of this victim, telnet, and hit enter. So it is trying to connect with it. Let's see whether it will be able to connect or not. Okay. So what it is saying that connected, and it is asking for the login, login details over here, your username and the password. But along with that, you can also find the credentials written over here, your MSF admin, MSF admin, right? So it will be giving me the error because of this MSF admin, MSF admin, right? And after this, we are getting the access of this metasploitable machine. If I will be doing the ifconfig, and you can see it is giving us the information about this 132. So over here, I'm going to stop it, right? And now I'm going to follow this stream. And over here, you can see the credential which we have written. So previously, we have written like this, right? And after that, we have given our credential like this, your MSF admin and your MSF admin. So that is how the attacker, they can perform the interception, and they will be able to understand like what is the password we are having, right? So over here, what we have done is we have cracked the password, right? We have performed the brute force attack, right? For that, we were using our Hydra tool. Yeah, it is going to create the session, right? So for that, I'm going to open my tool with the name Metasploit Framework, right? So we are having this tool Metasploit Framework over here, right? Which will be used for the which will be used by our analysts as well as by the attackers, right? So it will be used for the exploitation, along with that for your vulnerability assessment also, right? It is going to provide us the information about the vulnerabilities we are having over there, right? Along with that, what we can do, we can also use those vulnerabilities to exploit with the help of this Metasploit tool we are having, the MSF console. All right. So over here we are having our MSF console, right? Your Metasploit framework, right? So we are having this Metasploit framework for performing the vulnerability scanning over there, right? For exploiting those vulnerabilities also, right? So inside this we are having the different modules, right? Like we are having the exploits, we are having the auxiliaries, right? So we are using our exploit to breach a particular vulnerability to take the advantage of a particular vulnerability. We are having the auxiliary, right? So we are not using the auxiliary for exploitation purpose. Instead of that, we are using this auxiliary for performing the vulnerability scan for us, right? It will be performing the scanning for us, right? Then we are having your post, which are your post exploitation modules, right? Which will be allowing the attackers to gain the control of your compromised system and to gather further information also, right? We are having our payload, right, which will be performing our intended actions for us, right? We are having your encoders, right? Yeah, which will be helping us to bypass our payload which we have created, because if I will be directly sending you my payload, let's say it is a Trojan, right? Your defender, it is going to block it, right? So for that we are having your encoder, right? It is going to encode my payload over there, and it will be making sure that it is able to reach your machine, right? Then we are having a NOPS, which stands for your no operation, right? So we are using this NOPS whenever we have to perform the attacks like the buffer flow, right? So inside that we are having your NOPS. Okay, still it is taking time. No worries. So what we will be doing is we will be looking into these session later on. So many times these machines, they are taking a bit amount of time. Okay, so against these password cracking, what we have to do is we have to use the strong password, we have to enable the multi-factor, we have to also employ the strong encryption methods, which is going to also protect our hashes which are stored inside our memory or inside our disk, right? Along with that, we can also perform the segmentation of our network, right? Which is going to restrict the attack like your lateral movement. It will be also going to limit the impacts of our compromised systems, of our compromised accounts over there, right? And along with that, we can also control and monitor the privileges to reduce the risk of our attackers gaining the access to our sensitive data over there, right? Then we are having the multi-factor authentication. So in the multi-factor authentication, right, we are going to add some additional measures over there, right, which is going to add the extra layer of security beyond our traditional passwords, right? Like over here, you can see I'm having this account and my Proton, right? So what we can do is we can enable this two password mode, right? We can enable this two-factor authentication by using the authenticator app, right? What is it is going to do is it is going to verify our identity with an time-based one-time password from the authenticator app, right? So it will be sending us a OTP. Along with that, in our two password mode, what it is going to do is when I will be logging in inside this proton account over here, right? It will be asking for a credential. Then when I will be trying to access my emails inside it, then again it is going to ask for a password over there, right? So that is what we are having this two password mode, right? Over here we are having our password manager. They will be having the multi-factor authentication, so you guys can play with them, right? And along with that, what will be happening is it is going to ask for more than two times for the passwords over there, right? It will be using these factors over here, right? More than two times. Like for that, either you guys can use these push notification, which will be asking that whether are you the person who is trying to log in inside your account or not, right? Or you guys can, along with that, you guys can use the biometrics, the OTPs over there, right? So that is what we are having, this multi-factor authentication, in which we will be having more than two factors for our authentication. After this, we are having the role-based access control. So over here, we are having the role-based access control, right? So in this, we are going to assign the permissions to our users, right? Based upon their roles within our organization. It means that our users, they will be granting the access to a specific resource, the functionalities based upon their job duties, their responsibilities over there, right? Rather than granting the access to the individual users over there, right? So inside that, what we will be doing is the very first thing, we are going to identify all the different roles we are having inside the organization, right? And those roles, they should be clearly defined, right? They should be reflected there. They will be they should be reflecting their different job functions, their responsibilities over there, right? So once we have defined the roles, right? Our permissions, they will be assigned to each and every role over there, right? So inside that permission, we will be determining what sort of actions a user, right, with that particular role he can perform, like viewing, editing, creating, deleting the data, right? Along with that, we can also assign the users to roles, right? The users, they will be assigned to appropriate roles based upon their job duties, right? Which will be ensuring that they are having the access to the resource and the functionalities that they need to perform their task effectively over there, right? So that is what we are having, this role based access control. But when we will be having all these standards, the users, right, the customers, they will be having a greater trust in the in those organizations over there, right? Like we are having our UPI applications. If you guys will be looking into the bottom of them, you will be finding that PCI DSS written, right? So over here, we are having our cybersecurity laws and the regulations, right? So they are being designed to protect the individuals, the organization, the government from the cyber attacks, right? So these cybersecurity laws and the regulation, they can cover the wide range of topics we are having, like our data protection, we are having our privacy, the network security, the incident response, and many more, right? So these are some of the most common cyber security laws and the regulations we are having. Like we are having this GALBA, which stands for your Gram Leach Belay Act, right? So this GALBA, what it will be saying is, like the financial institution, right? What they have to do is they have to protect the customer's data, like our security numbers, we are having our credit card information, right? So all those financial institutions who are having our information, right? How they are storing those information, how they are processing those information, they have to do all those work in a secure manner, right? That is what we are having your Gram Leach Bill Act over here. Then we are having your HIPAA. Okay, so we are having your HIPAA, which stands for your Health, Insurance, Portability, and Accountability, right? So over here, your HIPAA, it will be saying that our PHI, right? Our PHI, it shouldn't be getting disclosed, right? It shouldn't be getting shared without the knowledge of an individual over there, right? So over here, all the healthcare, right, the providers in the US, right? So they have to protect the privacy, the security of the patient's health information they're having, right? The PHI they are having, right? So it can be like the medical records, it can be there like the doctor prescription over there, the insurance information, right? So all those information they shouldn't be getting disclosed without the knowledge of that particular patient or that individual over there. That is what we are having your HIPAA, right? Then we are having this PCI DSS, right? Which stands for your payment card industry data security standard, right? So over here, your PCI DSS, it will be making sure that the card holder's information, whether it is a debit card, credit, master, rupee, e-purse, or etc. Right? It should not be getting compromised. And your PCI DSS, it will be applying to all the entities who are involved in your payment card processing over there. Right? So that is what we are having your PCI DSS. Then we are having your GDPR, your General Data Protection Regulation over there, right? So this GDPR we are having for the European peoples, right? And it will be saying that the information of the European peoples, it shouldn't be taken without their knowledge, without their consent over there, right? If you are taking their information, then you have to ask their permission over there, right? You have to tell them where you will be using their information, right? In a very simplest manner, right? So over there, this GDPR, it will be providing, and this GDPR, it will be providing the individuals over there, right, to control over their personal data, right? And if someone is trying to impose them, right? So for that, that particular organization or the individual, right, they will be having some significant obligations over there, right? So these are some cybersecurity laws we are having, right? After that, we are also having our framework, right, which is your NIST, your National Institute of Standard and Technology Cybersecurity Framework, right? So this is a cybersecurity framework we are having, which will be providing us the guidance on how to implement our cybersecurity program over there, right? So for that, it is having your five core functions. That is your identify, protect, respond, and recover, right? So over there, it will be providing us some set of recommendations, some practices for all these functions we are having, right? So that is what we are having on next. Then we are having your ISO IEC 27001, right? So over here, this ISO 27001, it will be specifying the requirement for implementing, maintaining, and improving our information security management services over there within the context of a particular organization over there, right? So that is what we are having this ISO over here. Right, so these are some cybersecurity laws and the regulations we are having, right? So with the help of them, we can protect our personal data from your unauthorized access, use, disclosure, destruction, right? Along with that, we can reduce the risk of our financial losses due to the data breaches, right? We can protect our organization's reputations with the help of them, right? So these are some benefits we are having of these cybersecurity laws and the regulations. Okay, so over here we are having our privacy and the data protection, right? So privacy is what? It is the right of our individuals to control our personal information and to decide how it will be used, right? It is about being able to live one's life free from unwarranted surveillance and intrusion over there. right? And when we are talking about the data protection, right, your data protection, it is the practice of safeguarding our personal information from your unauthorized access, use, disclosure, destruction, and many more, right? So data protection is all about ensuring that our personal information, like how it is getting collected, stored, and used, right? So they should be in a ethical manner over there, right? So over there are some numbers of laws and the regulations, right, which are in place to protect our privacy and our data protection, right? And over there, these laws, right, and the regulations, right, they will be requiring our organizations to collect our personal information only for your specified or the legitimate purpose, right? Along with that, our personal information, right, it should be getting processed in a fair and in a transparent manner over there, right? Our organization, they're required to implement the appropriate security measures to protect our personal information from the unauthorized access, the use, the destruction over there, right? They have to allow the individuals to access and to correct our personal information, right? Along with that, whenever they are disposing of our personal information, it should be done in a secure manner when our personal information it is no longer needed, right? So for that, we can have the components for our privacy and the data protection, like we can have the technical safeguards, right? We can have our organizational safeguards and we can have our legal safeguards over here, right? So in the very first, we are having our technical safeguards, right? So the technical safeguards are the measures that are taken to protect our personal information from the unauthorized access, their use, their disclosure, their alteration, and the destruction over there, right? So over there we can use like the encryption, the firewalls, the access controls inside the technical safeguards. Then we are having the organizational safeguards, right, which are the policies and the procedures that are in place to ensure that our personal information, right, how it is handled, it should be, you can say, done in a responsible manner, in a ethical manner, right? So for that we can include our data retention policies, the data breach notification procedures over there, right? We can also implement the trainings for our employees, right? Then we are having the legal safeguards, right? So legal safeguards are the laws and the regulations that are being governed, right? That are being governed to like how our organization they will be collecting, they will be using, and they will be disclosing our personal information over there, right? So for that, like we are having your GDPR, we are having your CCPA, we are having your DPA, we are having many more, right? So these are some components of our privacy and the data protection over there, right? So having this data protection over there, the privacy and the data protection, right, they are going to increase the trust, the confidence over there of the peoples who are most likely to trust the organization, right, that are respecting their privacy and they are also protecting their data, right, which will be leading to a increased customer loyalty and the engagement with a particular organization over there, right? It will be also reducing the risk of your data breaches, right? So the data breaches, they are very costly and they are damaging, right, to the organization's reputation over there. So if we are implementing the strong privacy and the data protection measures, so they can help to reduce the risk of these data breaches over there. Along with that, the organization they have to comply with the privacy and the data protection laws and the regulations, right, which are less likely to face the legal or some other issues, right? So over here you guys have seen whenever we are visiting a website, right, it will be asking to provide our name, our email address, and some other personal information, right? So that website, right, it should have some privacy policies which will be explaining it, how it will be collecting using disclosing our personal information, right? Along with that, whenever we are accessing any application inside of a mobile phone, right, then it will be also asking for the permission for our location, our data, our contacts over there, right? Then over there you guys will be also seeing a note which will be giving us the information about how it will be handling our all those details, our personal information over there, how it will be using them, right? And along with that, whenever we are visiting the hospitals, right, our doctors, they will be collecting our medical histories and some other information, right? Then those hospitals, they should be also having the privacy policy, right, which will be explaining that how they are going to use our health information, right? So that is how we are using the privacy and the data protection in our real life scenarios over here. Okay. So when we are talking about the ethical hacking, right, we are also calling them as your white hat hackers, right? So what our white hat hackers will be doing is they will be always going through the book, right? They will be always following the permission, right? They never ever break the rules over there, right? So our white hat hackers are the hackers who are having the sound knowledge of your system and the network, but what they will be doing is they will be utilizing their knowledge for your constructive purpose, not like the black hat hackers who will be utilizing their knowledge for the destructive purpose, right? So our white hat hackers are the ethical hackers, right? So our ethical hackers, first they will be taking the permission from the particular organization over there, right? And then what they will be doing is they are going to identify and they will be trying to fix the vulnerabilities inside that particular organization, right? So our ethical hackers, they will be using their knowledge, their skills to scan the system for the weakness, and then they will be creating the report over there of all the findings of all the tasks they have done, right? Then after that, the organization, right, they will be responsible for it if they want to mitigate a particular vulnerability or not, right? So over here, that is what our ethical hacking, right? But when we are talking about the responsible disclosure over here, right? So your responsible disclosure, it is what? It is the process of reporting the security vulnerabilities to the affected organization in a responsible and in a ethical manner, right? So over here, whatever bounty hunters, what they will be doing is they will be looking for the bugs inside the organization, right? They will be looking for the vulnerabilities, the weakness, the loopholes over there. Then they are going to report to a particular organization over there, right? They will be reporting to that respected organization that you are having this sort of bug, right? And if anyone will be attacking on it, then he will be getting this sort of result over there, right? So that over there, they will be also giving the information about the impact and the remediation steps also, right? Now, the organization, they are going to assess that particular vulnerability. They will be looking for the severity of it. And depending upon the severity, depending upon the level, right, they are going to give the reward to those bug bounty hunters, right? So over here, that is what our responsible disclosure, right, in which we will be identifying the vulnerabilities, right, and then we will be reporting to that particular affected organization in a responsible and in a ethical manner, right? So for that, we will be following some guidelines which will be ensuring that our vulnerability, it has been disclosed in a way that does not cause any harm to the organization or its user over there, right? So over here, our ethical hacking along with our responsible disclosure, it is it is beneficial for our organization or for the individuals, both of them, right? Like it will be helping the organizations to fix the loopholes, the vulnerabilities over there, right, which can be exploited by the attackers, right? Along with that, it will be reducing, right? It is going to reduce the risk of our data breaches we are having, right? Which are very costly and also very damaging for our organization's reputation, right? If we are able to identify the bugs, right? The vulnerabilities, right? We will be fixing them, right? So over there, the attacker, he won't be able to compromise them. Right, so what we will be doing is we will be finding the vulnerabilities over there and we will be fixing them before actually the attacker will be exploiting them, right? Along with that, it will be also helping us to improve the compliances we are having, right? For that, we are having the GDPR, we are having many more, right? So this ethical hacking, it will be also helping the organizations to comply with those regulation by identifying and by fixing the vulnerabilities that could lead to the data breaches over there, right? So that is how our ethical hacking and your responsible disclosure, it can help the organization, right? And when we are talking about an individual, about a person over there, right, then it can help to identify and to fix the vulnerabilities in the software and the website which can be exploited by the attackers, right? Which will be making a safer environment for the individuals to